Welcome back to episode 144 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. We got stuff that we want to touch upon today. It's September, football's back, but baseball gets more exciting as we are coming down the final stretches here of the MLB season, which is kind of crazy. I feel like I've been saying that ever since July. Like, damn, I can't believe it's already July. I can't believe it's already August. And now I can't believe it's already September and we only have like a handful of games left. But um, before we get into all the stuff that we want to discuss today, and believe me, there's stuff to talk about. I'm sure as a lot of people saw around the Diamond Instagram account over the weekend, or you just watching baseball. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, I'm excited for today's episode because we have a decent amount to touch on, and three of these topics in particular are going to be very fun. Um, so I'm doing well, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll touch more on it later, but yeah, we're into the full swing of things with baseball season, man. We're coming up on October, best time in baseball. Yankees, I mean, they're doing good, So I'm overall doing good. You kind of touched on with football season. I tried getting into football again for a little bit over the weekend. Um, for those of you who don't know, I'm a New York Giants fan, and they fuck it,
Yeah,
dude. Every single
doesn't
year.
doesn't help when Russell Wilson can
No,
barely throw over
no,
100 passing yards.
no. Offensive line, man. I don't know. It's the same shit, different year. That's how it is with the New York Giants. So I'm back on this Yankees train again until they show me something different. But I'm cap all that out. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It was a bad week for the Dodgers, of course, as we all saw. It seems like the Dodgers hit their lowest point Saturday night, and it seems like well, if you didn't hear what I said, and Kyle Mikey definitely saw the text over the weekend. Saturday's loss was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. But again, I'll touch more on that a little bit later. Doing well. I did nothing but just watch football all weekend. Like I was college all day, and then it sucked because yesterday I had to run some errands with my mom. So I was like, damn, like now, like the
Yeah.
Packers are about to start in an hour, and I'm, and then I was watching the red zone all day, but then it was okay. I was still able to watch it on my phone, but and the Dodgers too, I guess. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Uh, Immediately after I get off of this, going to Dodger Stadium because I got a 3 game series against the Rockies, which you'd think the Dodgers would be able to sweep them, but the way they've been playing the last 2 months, it's not a guarantee. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. But the first topic that we have on hand, we are going to touch upon the New York Mets and their three young starters. Some of them have been making a name for themselves, and the way this is going right now, at least one of those guys is gonna have to pitch in a postseason spot unless the Mets come back and win the division. Um, they're gonna be in that. One of them is gonna pitch in that wild card series, I think. But which other three starting pitchers for the young starters for the Mets in particular have you most been impressed by to start?
It's so tough to say because all three of these guys um, have been making names for themselves in their first starts, and all three of these guys are highly touted prospects. By the way, um, three guys who I could potentially see in the 2026 rotation already have a spot. But if I had to pick one of them, I would say probably Nolan McLean, man.
Yeah.
He's if I remember this correctly now, obviously I'm a little shaky here, but he had so many no hit innings in his first start or something like that. It was something crazy, but no, he completely was pitching lights out. He was commanding the zone perfectly. His velocity was where you want it. Um, Jonah Tong and Brandon Sprout too. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from those guys. Both of them shined in their debuts and have been pitching well ever since. Um, but yeah, no, all three of these guys, man. I mean, it's very exciting, and for me, like me personally. I have an appreciation for pitching in this game. Um, and these three guys like coming like it's such a cool story too. All three of these guys basically coming up at once, completely showing what they have. All three of these guys have been dominating in the minors. Um, yeah, like I said, man, I really think Nolan McLean his stuff just had a tick to it. It had a tick above what the other two did, and that's what the Mets need. That starting rotation, ever like going into the season in 2025, well, me in particular, I was very wary about that starting rotation. I wasn't sure what that was going to be. Kodai Senga, we really don't know what to get out of him. Clay Holmes. And then, of course, Sean Manayo, he was on the shelf to start the season, but he came back. You you need these guys to perform, especially coming up into October. And like you said, one of these guys is probably going to pitch in October, potentially two, depending on what those rosters look like for October. So we'll see how it goes. But Nolan McLean, man, his stuff just looks so good. His velocity was there. His stuff, he was pounding the zone. It's exactly what you want. Um, yeah, all three of these guys are extremely impressive in their debuts and in their starts. And like I said, it's definitely two of these three guys I could definitely see in the 2026 rotation. Out of the three, Jonah Tong, I feel like he needs a little bit more in the minors. Give me a little bit more, and then by the time 2026 rolls around, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy can make a name for himself in the major league starting rotation. So, yeah, that's just to round it out. Real good out of these guys, and it's excited to be a Mets fan with these three guys. So, yeah, definitely going to be tuning in when these guys starts, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is Nolan McLean. He had his so far in his young major league career, he had his best start against the Phillies at the end of August a couple weeks ago, in the middle of like a pennant race. You know, Mets are not exactly out of this division just yet.
Hmm.
8 innings, he only allowed 4 hits and he gave up no runs and he struck out six batters on against a very good Phillies lineup, of course. So, um, super impressive. It's always interesting. Like you, obviously, I'm not I'm not a Mets fan, so I'm not tuned in on everything that has to do with the New York Mets 24/7, 365. But then, you see guys like Nolan McLean get called up, and you're like, oh, who's this? And then, he'll blow you away with a star like that. It's like, wow,
Hmm.
um, exactly what the Mets needed, man. I mean, you know, they're one of their strengths of last season was starting pitching, and the reason why they were able to get pretty far in the postseason was because of Lindor and the timely hitting, but also they got good starting pitching. And of
Yeah,
course, you need that in October. And if the Mets want to go where they're gonna have to go, they're gonna have to rely on these two guys. Two of their young guys to kind of just go through everything, and hopefully it won't be too much for them because we have seen pitchers in past like big league pitchers get
hmm,
to October and completely you know let the moment get too big for them. I'm very interested to see if these guys, if they get in that situation, will they tense up or will they deliver in the moment? But it's something to keep an eye on as the Mets continue their season here, because they are clinging on to that final wild card spot. You got the Reds, um, 4 games behind them, and so do the Giants and the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. But it looks like the Mets are going to get that last spot unless something drastically changes in the next couple of weeks here, which it can. It seems like a lot of these teams have been going through up and down swings and stuff. But um, I think this is a good transition into our final predictions for the division winners. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, like, well, why would you do this like 3 weeks to go in this season? Some of these division races are very interesting. We have 3 out of the 6 divisions that the second place team is trailing by the first place team by 3 games or less. You got the NOS, you have the AL East, obviously, and then you have the AL West as well. So, um, we'll. I don't know how you want to do this, but I guess we'll just go through each division and I'll kind of give you the two teams, and we'll just see where we think we're at. Let's get the easy ones out of the way first, and then we'll get to these big ones. Um, I'll start with the NL Central. The Braves. Wow. The Brewers 7.5 game lead over the Chicago Cubs, who are in second place. I mean, unless the Brewers completely fall on their face here, and the Cubs, you know, go on a run here, it's the Brewers are gonna win this division, right? Like, I don't think the Cubs will make it interesting.
Yeah, no. This topic I'm so excited for, man. I have been waiting for quite some time to get into this topic, and yeah, like you said, we'll get into an easy one. The Brewers have this division. I don't see a world where that shifts. The Cubs, they're a good team, but the Brewers, they're kind of on cruise control right now. They've made historic points in the season, and I don't see that slowing down. So I also have Milwaukee winning this division.
They were 21-25 on Memorial Day. That
Hmm.
was the record. I heard it on the radio this morning. That's insane. And
Yeah.
they went on a run here, and now it looks like they're in the driver's seat to win the NL Central. All right, we'll do AL Central. We'll go to the other Central. Tigers have an 8.5 game lead over the second place. Um, Kansas City Royals, the Guardians, are 9 games back. I mean, the Tigers have been the best team pretty much in the American League all season, up until the last couple weeks. Or I think, I mean, I think they'll win. I think they'll win the Central. They'll hold on here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Detroit.
All right, now, well, one more. AL East, Phillies 7.5 game lead over the Mets. Now, there was a report that came out today, and I think either you or Mikey posted it.
Mhm.
Um, the Phillies are continuing to get hit with the injury bug a little bit here. They are now losing Trey Turner and Alec Boehm. They're both going on the IL. Those are two significant losses, and those are two significant bats in your lineup that are not going to be there. On top of Zach Wheeler being done for the season already, one of your top starters. Um, 7.5 game lead. I'm still picking the Phillies. I still think the Phillies are going to win this division, but well, I'll touch on what I think about a little later. But I think the Phillies are still gonna. I think the Phillies still win this division. Maybe not by 7 games, but I do think the Mets will cut into it a little bit. But I still think the Phillies hang on and win.
Yeah, the Mets and Phillies have a huge 4 game series starting tonight at 6:45 Eastern time. That could shift it a little bit if the Mets go into, yeah, this is Citizens Bank. If they go into Citizens Bank and sweep the Phillies, we have a different conversation for next week. I will say
Yep.
that. Because after that, the Phillies have to face Los Angeles still. That is their hardest matchup besides the Mets to close out the season. And the same weekend, that is when the Mets go out to play San Diego. So there's some NL West talk for you there, real quick. But the Phillies have an easier schedule to finish out the year. I am going to say the Phillies are going to win the division because I do not see the Mets going into Citizens Bank and completing the sweep against the Phillies. Could they take 3 out of 4? Maybe. But for me to have a different discussion, such as the Mets winning the NL East, I think the Mets have to go into Citizens Bank and sweep the Phillies because they do have a harder schedule. After that, if that does happen next week, I'll let you know. But as of right now, I'm going Phillies. I'm not going to change my pick, but I will make a comment on next week if the Mets do sweep the Phillies. But as of right now, I'm going Phillies because they do have the easier schedule to finish out the year.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair. All right. Now let's get to the three tight divisions here. We'll start. We won't. We'll do our divisions last because we'll. I'm very interested to see where our heads are at with those. But AL West, the Houston Astros 2.5 games in front of the Seattle Mariners, and right behind them too. Don't look now, but here come the Texas Rangers.
Hmm.
My World Series pick might still be alive here. I might still be alive from opening day, but um, I've been so disappointed with the Seattle Mariners. I told you right after they made all their big moves at the trade deadline. I told you that I thought that the um, Seattle Mariners were going to win the division. And they haven't done that. They've been playing with their food a little bit, and they just went through a little rough stretch here not too long ago. I'm still rolling with the Houston Astros. I want to be different. I really want to take Seattle, but I'm not feeling the way that the Mariners have been playing the last couple of weeks. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, even with all their acquisitions.
No, and I mean, you made a great point with the Mariners. They're on a skid, man. It really seems like they can't put it together. Cal Raleigh's having a phenomenal season. J Rod's starting to heat up, and it's starting to get into the pitching a little bit. I mean, there's some pitching blowups that we've seen from the Mariners, and that's not what we're used to here. I just they're too inconsistent, man. Houston is at the end of the day, Houston's front office and Houston's coaching staff, they're winners, man. That's just how it is, and they've proven it for years, even though they've had the fall off. Um, I'm still rolling with Houston, especially considering what is going to be my next pick in one of these divisions. Um, they have a 3 game series coming up against Toronto, and me being the biased Yankee fan, I'm going to hope and pray that they win. So I'm
Yeah,
going to use
Astros.
that logic and say to myself, you know what, Houston's going to get 3 games right here, hopefully, and and kind of create some space there in that division. So I still see Houston winning this division.
Seattle and Houston play each other a week from Friday. It's a 3 game series in Houston. So I mean, if you're Seattle, all you can hope for is just keep it within 2.5, maybe even try and gain ground. But if you can if you can stay where you at now, going into next weekend, there's your chance right there to take the division with a week left to go in the season. So there is still time and there's still room here for the Mariners to make their move. But I'm still rolling with the Astros here. Um, all right, let's do my division. We'll do your division last.
Okay.
So the Dodgers have been fucking around the last 2 months. They've been not only playing with their food, but when they put it in their mouth, they're choking it and spitting it back out. Um, they have a 1 game lead over the San Diego Padres in the National League West division. The Dodgers and Padres do not play each other the rest of the season. I want to point that out. Um, both teams are 3-7 in their last 10 games, and if the Dodgers were so bad last week, but hey, guess what? San Diego was right behind you and losing games. Um, Kyle, what do you think? Padres, Dodgers.
Oh man, it's tough because it is so tough, but I have learned to not bet against the best team in baseball time and time again. And to me, it's still the Dodgers, man. I mean, for me, I'm an outsider, so you probably have a different perspective. But the way that I look at this team is again, I'm not an insider, so I'm outsider looking in. This team is too good to let this thing completely fall to shit. There's too much money wrapped up. There's too many good players, elite players. And this Dodgers coaching staff, man, the coaching staff, the front office, they've put everything in place for this team to almost like it's almost impossible to fail. But I understand that the skid's been happening for the last 2 months, things like that. But to me, it's still the Dodgers. I don't. It's it's tight. It is, but I think like just looking at I'm also keeping in mind that tiebreaker that the Dodgers have over the Padres. That is something that I'm also keeping in mind. But looking at the Dodgers' schedule to finish out the year, man, it's it's almost impossible. I mean, you have a 3 game set against Colorado. You play San Francisco 6 out.
Giants,
Yeah, you play them 6
Phillies, San
Arizona.
Francisco again, and then Arizona. I mean Seattle, Arizona to finish
Yeah,
the year.
and
And I
you look
have
at that.
I have the
Go
Padres schedule in front of me.
ahead.
So they're home, right? This is the Padres schedule, right? Yep. So they're home 3 game series tonight beginning with the Cincinnati Reds. They're trying to get back into a playoff spot. You got a 4 game series at home against the Rockies, and then their final road trip, they go 3 with the Mets, and then 3 with the White Sox, and then their final week is Milwaukee, and then Arizona at home to finish.
To me,
So,
yeah,
God, I'm gonna be watching that last week so much.
to
Dodgers
me,
playing Arizona in Arizona, and the Padres playing at home against the Brewers. I would like to think the Brewers will still be playing for something, but I doubt it. But you never know.
to me, putting up the schedules next to each other, I feel that the Dodgers have, to me, they need to take care of business against Philly. You take care of business against Philly, you pretty much, everything else should fall together and kind of make up for itself. So, scheduling wise, and just the Dodgers team as a whole, I can't bet against them. I did it last year, and it bit me in the ass. I don't know, man. This team, I understand they haven't been playing well, but strength of schedules paired up next to each other and having that tiebreaker, I think, is huge. Technically, you have a 2 game lead over the Padres right now. Um, I don't see the Dodgers fumbling that hard. Now, once we get to October, that's a different story, and we'll touch on that when that comes. But as of right now, we're talking regular season. I'm not betting against the Dodgers. It's still their division to lose.
Yeah, I'm still rolling with the Dodgers, but I don't feel good about it at all. I'll put it to you that way. The other thing that I don't like with San Diego is that they have a ton of injuries.
Hmm.
Michael King is out. Nestor Cortez is out. They just lost Jason Adams last week. That was a scary injury. Um, Xander Bogarts is out right now. Joe Musgrove hasn't returned. So a lot of their big pieces are not there right now.
Hmm.
And, and again, the Dodgers are still there's pieces that are still coming back. Muncie's supposed to be back, I think, tonight. Tommy Edman is supposed to come back very shortly. And so there's still pieces that are set to return here for this Dodger team. But um, I will bank on the experience that this Dodger team will figure it out in the last month to at least win the division. I agree with you. Once we get to the postseason, that's a different story and that's a different conversation. But um, yeah, I'm rolling with the Dodgers, but I really don't feel good about it. I again like the way I'll touch on it later. I don't want to. I'll touch on it with the next topic, but I don't want to jump ahead of myself. But I just don't like what I've seen out of this team all summer, and there's no reason for me to believe that it's just gonna flip all of a sudden in these
Hmm.
last 3 weeks. But that being said, I'm still taking the Dodgers. Um, all right, last team or last division here, the American League East. The Toronto Blue Jays have a 2 game lead over the Yankees. The Boston Red Sox are only 3.5 games back too of the first place Toronto Blue Jays. Um, I really, man, there's so many ways I can go with this here. There's so many ways I can go. This I'll let you go last because this is your division.
Hmm.
Um, man, I really want the Yankees to get back in first here. I really do, but I'm riding with the hot hand here. I'm sticking with the Blue Jays. I'm sticking with the
Hmm.
Blue Jays here. I've seen a big enough sample size to kind of see that all right, they can handle what they're going through right now, and their schedule is a little difficult. They play Houston 3 game series starting tomorrow, like you mentioned, and then they go Baltimore, and then they go out on the road for their final road trip against the Tampa Bay Rays and the Kansas City Royals, and then they finish at home 3 game series with the Red Sox, which that might be a big deal, and then 3 games against the Tampa Bay Rays, which I mean they could beat anybody on any given night. So that being said, I'm still rolling with the Blue Jays here. I'm still rolling with the Blue Jays. I still think I think the Blue Jays will win this division like this. I don't think they're just gonna run away with it. But
Hmm.
the Yankees are playing really good ball right now, though. But man, I'm riding with the hot hand here. I'm going with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay. I am also going to ride with a hot hand,
Whoa.
and
Okay.
that is the New York Yankees. I wholeheartedly do believe that this team has turned it around. which is a far cry from where I was just a few weeks ago. Um, the biggest concern to me is the series that is coming up for both the Blue Jays and for the Yankees. The Yankees have a 3 game set against Detroit. That is going to be tough. But the one thing that I can hang my hat on here is the
Whoa.
fact that I know, you took 2 out of 3 against Houston. Okay. You you go back home and you take 2 out of 3 against Toronto. Those are some gutsy wins in there. Okay. You're going 4 out of 6 against two division winners. And then you're going into, you're playing in the Bronx, you're staying at home against Detroit. Um, you got to take 2 out of 3 against Detroit for this to make any sense for me. You got to take 2 out of 3 from Detroit. After that, you're almost smooth sailing. You have a really you have one
Yeah,
of
their
the
schedule's
easiest.
easy the rest of the way through after
That's
Boston next weekend
You have a
or
three
this
game set.
weekend.
Yeah, 3 game set against Detroit, 3 game set against Boston. After that, I don't know if we could have carved it up any better. You have 3 game set against Minnesota, 4 game against Baltimore, 3 against the White Sox, and 3 against Baltimore again to finish out the year. Um, Pairing that against the Blue Jays schedule, I'm hoping and praying that Houston takes care of business, take 2 out of 3 or sweep the Blue Jays, and then hopefully after this 3 game set, the Yankees and Blue Jays are tied for the division. After that, you kind of just let the schedule take it as it is. And like I said, man, I mean, I'll touch on it a little bit later too, but the Yankees have been playing some hot baseball right now, and they look good. Everything seems to be coming together. You're getting contributions out of everywhere. So you're pairing that, and Toronto's been on a little bit of a skid recently. Um, Things just haven't been clicking. So I'm hoping and praying that going into this, the Yankees just get hot at the right time and they ride it out for the rest of the year, and then they find themselves in first place. It's not going to be by much. Whoever wins this division, and we're only talking about 2 teams right now. Things can get crazy, and Boston can come up and win this division. You never know. But I believe they play 6 games against Tampa Bay. Those games are crucial. And Tampa Bay is one of those teams, I say it year in and year out. Every time we do these damn previews at the beginning of the year, I slot Tampa Bay in like third place always, because Tampa Bay is that team that no matter what, they will figure it out. And I'm hoping and praying they do the same against the Blue Jays. But yeah, as of right now, I'm sticking with my Yankees, man, and I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of bias towards me, but at the same time, they're hot right now, man. They are, and I'm gonna ride with them. So I'm taking the Yankees.
Quickly, here's the Red Sox schedule to finish the year. They start off in Sacramento, 3 game series against the A's. Then they come home. Yeah, then they come home 3 games against the Yankees, and then they have Oakland. I mean, they have Sacramento again in Boston, and then they go to Tampa Bay, and then the final week they have Toronto on the road, and then Detroit is the final 3 game series that weekend. So there you go. Take it for what it's worth, but
Yep.
I'm riding with the Blue Jays, and Kyle's going with the hot hand with the Yankees, as he should. I mean, the Yankees have been one of the best teams for about a month now, so makes sense. All right, well, let's get into the final topic here. We delayed it long enough. Let's get to our teams. Um, yeah. Oh, Kyle, you can go first. You can go first with the Yankees, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's good. Um, just had to write timestamp down. Okay, so we kind of touched on it a little bit here. I can make it short and sweet. There's not much for me to go on. I'll go to last 10. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're coming off a huge series win, both against Houston and against Toronto. Um, I saw some good baseball in there, man. I really did. The bullpen's holding it down. David Bednar has been huge. He's kind of fell into that closer role, and I like where he's at. Devin Williams, he's looking like a good setup man. He's finally kind of evened himself out. He's not the dominant pitcher he once was in Milwaukee, but you know what? He's getting the outs and he's doing what he has to. Um, and I'm hoping that if everything stays afloat and the Yankees do make the postseason, like I think they will, hopefully experience just comes with Devin Williams at that point. Luke Weaver looks good. Duvall's starting to even himself out too. Um, Bullpen, I really don't have much issues when it comes to the starting rotation. I mean, Max Fried is starting to get back to Max Fried baseball. Carlos Rodon, he's finally getting to the point where I can trust him when things go a little bit wrong. And that's been one of Carlos Rodon's biggest things is the fact like if he gets a base runner, man, that's when everything can unfold. Even after he's pitched 5, 6 no hit innings, you get a base runner on, and everything can unfold just like that. But he's looking good. I got to give two shout outs. Number one is to Cam Shittler. He has been nails,
Ooh.
man. Yeah, he's been nails, man. He's having a phenomenal rookie campaign. Not an official rookie, but get what I'm saying. He's come up and he's looked really good. He's given the Yankees some huge starts. Second shout out is Will Warren. I mean, he's come out of nowhere and he's really just he's fortified himself into a extremely solid starter in Major League Baseball. Overall, the Yankees pitching has been just great, and I can't ask for more. I need them to keep that up, especially in this stretch, man. Got that huge 3 game set against Detroit, and I want to look at the probables real quick. You got Will Warren going tonight, which is huge. That's going up against Casey Mize. I feel like that's a pretty good matchup. After that, you have Rodon against Flaherty. And then the final game of that series, you have Cam Shittler going against to be determined as of right now. And then after that, you have Max Fried. I'm guessing is going to start the first game in Boston. I I I love those matchups. That's the way I want it to go. So overall, pitching has been fantastic, and I need that to keep up for rest of the year. Now, going into the lineup real quick, I mean, Trent Grisham, dude, 30 homer season. He's having a career year. He's going to be a free agent at the end of next year. He's playing for a contract. So going into the end of the season and obviously the postseason and things like that, I mean, this guy's going to be playing to the best of his ability. And then um, Austin Wells, he's starting to come around a little bit more. Ben Rice, he's looked good. Stanton, he's been great ever since he's come back from injury. And I say it every week. Cody Bellinger, he's continuing to hit and he's continuing to produce. And the one thing that makes me excited about the Yankees right now is there is one guy who is not hitting, and that is Aaron Judge. The one guy who we can bank on every single night is going through a very he's going through a cold streak right now. And for the fact that we're winning ball games without Aaron Judge going 4 for 4, 3 for 3 with 2 homers or whatever it is, um, that's huge. And that's exactly what you need out of this lineup. And that's what we're getting right now. Um, so, yeah, overall, just to put a bow on it, man, Yankees look good and they're hot. And I hope and pray with my predictions with the divisions that they keep this up, man, because obviously we know going into October, you don't need to have a flashy record to make some noise in October. You need the hot hand, and that's what the Yankees have right now. And I'm hoping that they can just ride it out. Forget about the bullshit in the season. Forget about everything, all the cold streaks, everything else, and just play the rest of the season like you are right now. Go into October, and you have no idea what could happen then. So no complaints from me. The Yankees are doing extremely well, and it's been a far cry from where they come from. I've been out on them for so many so many weeks. I've come in here; it's all been doom and gloom. But obviously, I don't want to jump the gun. But they're playing good, and that's how I'm going to grade them as of right now. And I have no complaints. Aaron Boone, he's even making good decisions from the bullpen, and that's something that I've been extremely critical about with Aaron Boone. And he's seemingly piecing this bullpen together to finish out the games after the starters. So overall, man, I can't complain, and I love what the Yankees are doing right now. And I hope that it keeps up, and maybe we can make some noise.
And now over to the Dodgers. Holy shit, what a horrible week, man. They lost 5 in a row. They salvaged the game yesterday against the Baltimore Orioles, including probably the worst game I've ever seen in my life of watching Dodgers baseball. Yoshinobu Yamamoto 1 out away, 2 strikes away from throwing a no hitter Saturday night, and then he gives up. It's one thing to give up to lose a no hitter like on a base hit,
Yeah.
but to give up a solo home run, that sucked. And I'm glad I mentioned this in the comment section, and I'm glad there's people that agree with me. And there's a lot of Dodger fans that were not happy with Andy Pages Saturday night. Dude, you've got to at least make an attempt. I like go back and watch that replay. He go back and watch that clip. He played it like it was a double off the wall.
Yeah.
Like, dude, have some feel, have some recognition, or have some feel, and have some know where you are in the situation. The guy's two strikes away from throwing a no hitter. Like, listen, I still think even if Andy Pages was able to get to the wall, make a good attempt, I still think it would have been a home run. I think it would have been a little out of reach of his glove, but at least make an attempt. Didn't even try. Didn't even try. And to me, that's just being lost and not aware of this and not aware of the situation. And that's not good. And then I didn't even see what happened after it. I was so like not upset, but I was disappointed because I wanted Yamamoto to really have that no hitter. Um, Either he gave up another base hit or he walked a guy. I don't remember. And then Dave Roberts took him out, and then Blake Trinan couldn't get an out, and then Tanner Scott couldn't get an out, and the Dodgers lose 4-3. Um, I don't like what I've seen out of this team. And I mentioned this Saturday night when I recorded my little emergency podcast. Maybe that's just what this team is this year. They're just not good. They've been below 500 baseball since the beginning of the second half of the season. They just have too many of these bad losses. You know, just when I think a couple weeks ago they're gonna go on a run, put this division away. Then they take two steps back. It seems like I've been saying that a lot on here the last couple weeks, but um, I'm not afraid to admit this. I'm out on this team this year. I'm out. Like they can still win the division. To me, this is not a World Series team. It's not. I've seen a big enough sample size so far this season. Something happened where they just haven't been the same team since like May. It's so weird. But um, I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I am, and I hope a month from now, maybe the Dodgers will figure some things out. Maybe they'll go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum, and maybe I'll feel differently. But right now, I don't see it. I don't see where they can get. Forget 11 wins. It looks like they're gonna have to get 13 here, because I know they have a big series against the Phillies next weekend. I mean next week, 4-game series, but um, it looks like they're going to be playing in that 3-game wild card series right now. And I'm not saying that the Dodgers can't go on a run, maybe this team does need that. Maybe they do need to be in that wild card series just to kind of like, all right, like, you know, but it's so funny. Miguel Rojas said at the beginning of the month that okay, yeah, now we're going to start playing well. They're 1-5 to start the month of September or something like that. 1-6, some shit like that. Um, it's just they're not doing the small things right. And that's what's bugging me right now. And they can't hit with runners in scoring position. So, Saturday night was the straw that broke the camel's back. Again, I really hope I'm wrong because obviously I want every year. I always think the Dodgers could win a championship, but I don't see it this year. I really don't. Unless something drastically changes here in the final month, I don't see it happening with this team this year. And I look forward. Obviously, it's not official yet because there's still games to be played, but there are some changes that have to happen with this team this offseason. Tanner Scott, holy shit, he cannot be on this team next year. 4 years, 72 million. He hasn't done anything. If anything, he's hurt the team. Um, you know, again, I don't want to bury them because I think I did that Saturday, but I'm just so disappointed in this team. They're gonna have to scratch and claw here to get 90 wins. That's insane. We were talking about this team like could they compete with the 2001 Seattle Mariners? I didn't think it was going to happen. No did no no did neither did anybody else. but I thought they would at least be in contention for it. I thought they would. I thought this was a 100 plus win team. I thought they
Hmm.
would win 105, 106 games here. They're gonna have to scratch and claw here to get 90 wins. 90. That's crazy. Obviously, 100 wins is out of the question mark, which means I'm not going to hit the over under with this team. So, um, and the only reason why the Dodgers are still in front of this division, San Diego hasn't played great either. That is
Hmm.
the only reason that is keeping this division lead on by a thread. That when the Dodgers started playing, really going through their tough 5 game losing streak here, so were the Padres playing bad too. But of course, the Dodgers win, and then of course the Padres kick the shit out of the Rockies Sunday. So, um, but that's on the Dodgers. You just have to play better. And it seems like they're trying to search for answers, but maybe they're just not a good baseball team this year. Maybe they're just not good, and maybe and it's the worst time of the year for this to happen. Maybe they're hitting their World Series hangover now, because usually you get that at the start of the season.
Hmm.
Usually you're off to a slow start in April and May, but then you figure it out. Oh, the Dodgers, it's been the exact opposite. It seems like they've hit a wall here, and I really hope it's not their World Series hangover. Because remember, they have played a lot of baseball since the arrival of Shohei Ohtani last last season. They had to go to Korea, then they had to play the full 162, then they won the World Series, and then they had to report early this year again because they had to go to Japan, play that, and now here we are. Maybe they've just hit a wall here, and I just I just don't see it yet. But um, I really hope I'm wrong. I want to be called an idiot in a month and a half here when the Dodgers are, maybe in the league championship series again and they look like a good team again. But something's got to change because right now I don't see it, And if I swear, if they lose, I'm telling you this right now, if they lose this series to the Colorado Rockies and the Padres win their series against the Reds, San Diego's winning this division. I'm telling you that right now. Telling you right now. This is it right here. This
Hmm.
week is it right here. If you can't at least, because that's been the big problem this year with the Dodgers. They've had no problem outside of like the Brewers and the Astros. They've done pretty well against teams over 500. They have a losing record against team under 500. The Pirates, the Rockies, who else? The Baltimore Orioles this past weekend. For some reason, they played down to their opponents. It's
Hmm.
crazy, but sweep this series against the Rockies. Try to take a series in San Francisco because now they're playing good all of a sudden. And then we'll see what happens next week. But for right now, just take it one game at a time, one inning at a time, one pitch at a time.
Hmm.
Because I can't give this team the benefit of the doubt right now to do anything. Sorry, I just can't. But there you go. I'm very down on the Dodgers right now. Very down on them.
It makes sense, man. I mean, it is wild to me. I obviously watched that game. It's one of those like wow moments, and that's exactly what I texted in the group chat too.
Yep.
Just closing thoughts on Yankees, Dodgers, these divisions and things. This series coming up, this 3 game set that all these teams are going to be playing, I think is going to. It's That's why I wanted to do the divisions now because this 3 game series that's coming up for a lot of these teams is going to be the make or break for the rest of the year.
Yep.
And I think like it is wild just with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, just the teams we've been talking about. Um, we're really going to see what these divisions are going to look like because after that the schedules either get harder or they get easier, whatever that looks like. But this 3 game set and this week as a whole is going to tell a lot about so many of these teams in baseball. So if you're a baseball fan, please, I advise you to tune into baseball as a whole, not even just your team. Just tune into baseball this entire week, and you're gonna see these divisions pan out. You're gonna see what this looks like after this 3 game set. So I'm extremely excited, and it's It's going to be huge, man. I mean, this is the time that if you're a baseball fan, this is the time you want to be watching. So, just closing thoughts.
Yeah, there you go. I think you summed it up very nicely. I think that's gonna do it for episode 144. Uh, should be interesting to see where my team is in a week because I could be doomsday again, or it could be I could come in here next week and tell you the division's over and the Padres congratulations, or Dodgers have found something and they're gonna bring on the Phillies and let's
Very
get back
true.
to two and let's get back to two seed. But um, we'll see. I'm very very nervous and very scared for what this next week is gonna really these last couple of weeks because the Dodgers are hanging on by a thread this year. You know,
Yeah.
and I told my parents this. I'm checked out on this team almost like and then it helps when your football team, the Packers, kick the shit out of a good Lions team. So it's like USC's 2-0. The Lakers and Kings are coming back next month. Like boy, the Dodgers are really this close from losing me completely here because I got other things that I could pay attention to. But
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
all right, well that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out all our content. You know, I thanks. I know a lot of you took personal enjoyment of seeing me watching my team collapse Saturday night, but
We still
oh
love you.
well. Yeah, we still love it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. No, we do. We do. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. If we weren't seeing the engagement, if we weren't seeing the posts, if we weren't seeing the likes, the interactions, we wouldn't be doing this. So,
Absolutely.
um, thank you guys again, and Kyle, I'll see you in a week. Adios.